Alright, make another TED Talks type video, so we'll load up this one. Charles Lim, that's coincidental. Talking about the building the muscle of the musical something or other, whatever, however, I don't understand entirely. Turn it off until the applause is over. Not that the applause is a reasonable thing. Little TED logo's gotta go, blah blah blah, but we do want to kind of just get to the show. So we gotta wait for it a little bit, and there we go.
When we think of our senses, we don't usually think of the reasons why they probably evolved from a biological perspective. We don't really think of the evolutionary need to be protected by our senses. But that's probably why our senses really evolved, to keep us safe, to allow us to live. Really, when we think of our senses, or when we think of the loss of a sense, we really think about something more like this. The ability to touch something luxurious, to taste something delicious, to smell something fragrant.
Oh, whatever. Yeah, to assess the world, to see the Tyrannosaurus, to see the blood gushing, to run in fear and horror. I mean, again, just more or less just focus on the mumbo-jumbo stuff, right? This guy's starting off. He looks really bored. He looks bored. I don't know, he can't spacebar anymore on these videos, right? Yeah, it just doesn't work anymore. Bummer.
To see something beautiful. This is what we want out of our senses. We want beauty. We don't just want function.
Oh, please. Yeah, what we want are an intelligence, the sixth sense, the mind, to calculate that, oh yeah, I don't need beauty. I don't need a whole bunch of this other crap. That's right, it's just an idea in my fucking head, and you switch ideas like they were broken flashlights. Just stick a new one in there. Ugh. And there, no problem. Okay, you're happy eating bubble gum because you have a perspective that says, holy shit, I could have, you know, blah blah blah, or I could be that guy, or I could be you, and I'd be really depressed. But I'm not you, yay, I win, or something like that.
And when it comes to sensory restoration, we're still very far away from being able to provide beauty, and that's what I'd like to talk to you a little bit about today.
No, I wish you really wouldn't, because this is going to be really annoying, because it's an annoying subject. There's no, you know, it's all subjective mush. This is just bullshit. You know, it's only beautiful because we're biological animals intended to do a certain thing, okay? So that's what our beauty is tied to, is these certain things that we're supposed to do, which is find cover, find comfort. Yeah, we'll call it that sort of, well, food and sex, right? And there's nothing else. Food, sex, shelter, there's not much else to be beautiful to us.
Likewise for hearing, when we think about why we hear, we don't often think about the ability to hear an alarm or a siren, although clearly that's an important thing.
Well, it certainly wasn't the point of us having hearing in the beginning, which was, oh, I can hear stuff, and that's just another way of sensing stuff, and I can see in the dark in a way. That's what hearing is. Hearing's a kind of dark vision.
Really what we want to hear is music.
Oh, please. This is pretentious and overdrawn conclusions seem the only possibility.
So many of you know that that's Beethoven's 7th Symphony. Many of you know that he was deaf or near profoundly deaf when he wrote that.
Very nice.
Now,
I'd like
to impress upon you how unusual it is that we can hear music. Music is just one of the strangest things that there is. It's acoustic vibrations in the air.
Acoustic vibrations in the air. Now, see, that's not even the right way to say it. No, it's little sonic booms. Little tiny ones. Go boom, 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 all over the place. And then you do them right. They sound like music to us.
Waves of energy in the air that tickle our eardrum. Somehow, in tickling our eardrum, it transmits energy down our hearing bone.
This is the hole here. Oh, here's the drum.
Somehow converted into an electrical signal in our auditory nerves.
Boogalooga's there.
Somehow wind up in our brains.
Creepy. Oh, it's creepy in there.
The process is entirely abstract and very, very unusual.
That's not abstract. Okay, it was developed over billions of years, hundreds of millions for us anyway. And, yeah, all the little things, it said, oh, yeah, well, if we had that little bob bubble there, and we put a little swirly in here, that guy will hear better, and you get less infections.
We could discuss that topic alone for days to really try to figure out how is it that we hear something that's emotional from something that starts out as a vibration in the air.
Oh, whatever, because that's what we are. We're emotional animals. We've used our vocalizations, probably the monkeys that we were vocalizing in the trees, so yes, we respond to it, just like we respond to a Just like we respond to just as we respond to other signals in our environment. They are respond makers. That's right, because we're reactionary, and some of our reactions are built into the hardware, and some are completely subjective. Like, you're an Asian guy. I think you look kind of Chinese, but anyway, the Japanese got that hookity-pookity music, that Wang Changy stuff, and you're just like, holy shit, how the fuck can people listen to that crap all day? But that's what they growed up on.
Turns out that if you have hearing loss, most people that lose their hearing lose it at what's called the cochlea, the inner ear.
Yeah.
And it's at the hair cell level that they do this.
Yeah, that's right.
Now,
the little hairs fall off.
If you had to pick a sense to lose, I have to be very honest with you and say we're better at restoring hearing than we are at restoring any sense that there is. In fact, nothing even actually comes close to our ability to restore hearing. And as a physician and a surgeon, I can confidently tell my patients that if you had to pick a sense to lose, we're the furthest along medically and surgically with hearing.
Oh, cool. Well, that's right, because it's easy to get to. It's all right there. It doesn't go directly into the brain like the vision thing does, which makes it really tricky. That optical nerve is right smashed in there. So you do have all the trouble is right there at the outside usually. And so, yeah, you can just create a mechanical duplicate for some of these parts. Yeah, so that's good. That is good. And so, is this deserve a video? No. You're going to get to something, aren't you?
As a musician,
oh no,
I can tell you that
he's
if I
a
had
doctor
to have
and a
implant,
musician.
I would be heartbroken. I'd just be plainly heartbroken because I know that music will never sound the same to me.
Yeah, well, that's probably true, but then something else could sound like it to you. You could duplicate it through, like artificially. You could, take the world, read, you could almost edit it, theoretically, right? Yeah, so that would be the good thing is that you could edit it. You could synthesize it to suit you. You could make crap sound like something good. Yeah, maybe.
Now, this is a video that I'm going to show you of a girl who's born deaf. She's in a very supportive environment. Her mother is doing everything she can. We can play that video, please?
Oh, dear.
That's an owl.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Owl. Owl. Yeah.
Jesus, I just don't want to live anymore. Back to it.
Baby.
Owl. Bird stupid. Mama crazy.
Everything going for this child in terms of family support, symbol-infused learning, there is a limitation to what a child who is deaf, an infant who is born deaf, has in this world in terms of...
Yeah, well, she should be using like flashcards, right? She should get that kid language capable as quickly as possible. Do the vowels, do the words, get the words in there. But once she has the words, it has the ball game, right? So that's the place to go. Words, words, words. Get to the words. Not stupid fucking bullshit.
social, educational, vocational opportunities. I'm not saying that they can't live a beautiful, wonderful life. I'm saying that they're going to face obstacles that most people that have normal hearing will not have to face.
Well, why don't you just rub it in? Yeah, that's all. Why don't you just rub that in? Why don't you just concede life is stupid even under the best of circumstances? It's stupid.
Now, hearing loss and the treatment for hearing loss has really evolved in the past 200 years. And literally, they used to do things like stick ear-shaped objects onto your ears.
Yeah, there you go.
And stick funnels in, and that was the best you could do for your hearing loss.
Good idea.
Back then, you couldn't even look at the eardrum, and so it's not too surprising that there were no good treatments for hearing loss. And now, today, we have the modern multi-channel cochlear implant, which is an outpatient procedure. It's surgically placed inside the inner ear. It takes about an hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on where it's done, under general anesthesia. In the end, you achieve something like this, where an electrode array is inserted inside the cochlea. Now, actually, this is quite crude in comparison to our regular inner ear. But here is that same girl who was implanted now. This is her 10 years later, and this is a video that was...
10 years later? Well, she should be. She's a little taller by now, right?
Taken by my surgical mentor, Dr. John Naparco.
Okay,
Can you play
cool.
this video, please?
Yes, please do, please do.
So you've written 2 books.
I have written 2 books.
Was the other one a book or like a journal entry?
No, the other one was a book.
Oh, okay.
But,
Well, this book has 7 chapters, and the last The last chapter is entitled The Good Things About Being Deaf.
Oh dear. Is this a little pretentious or what?
Do you remember writing that chapter?
Oh, thank God, an error. That's what I needed. I needed an error right now. Okay, I'll come back to this.
Do you remember writing that chapter?
Yes, I do. I remember writing every chapter.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really hate doctors. It's most of them. Some of them. Maybe. Well, all. Anyway. I mean, just really stupid question. I mean, she's deaf. She's not fucking retarded. Do you remember? Oh, you wrote a book. Do you remember the chapters you wrote in the book? I mean, come on. Oh, pitiful.
Well, sometimes my sister can be kind of annoying, and so it comes in handy to not be annoyed by her.
Eyes. And who is that?
She just said her sister. God, this guy is really, really irritating.
Holly?
Okay.
Her sister.
Her sister.
My sister.
And how can you avoid being annoyed by her?
I just take off my CI and I don't hear anything. So it's pretty. It comes in handy.
So you don't want to hear everything that's out there.
No.
And so she's phenomenal. And there's no way that you can't
phenomenal.
look at that as an overwhelming success. It is. It's a huge success story in modern medicine. However, despite this incredible facility that some cochlear implant users display with language, you turn on the radio and all of a sudden they can't hear music almost at all.
Yeah, well, so what, right? Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, okay. Yeah, time, you know. They'll make better little implants and then they'll do more frequencies and everything
In
will be
fact, that
fine.
most implant users really struggle and dislike music because it sounds so bad. And so when it comes to this idea of restoring beauty to somebody's life, we have a long way to go when it comes to audition.
Well, there's a whole lot of other things to do with your life. Really. You can look at things.
Now, there are a lot of reasons for that. I mentioned earlier the fact that music is a different capacity because it's abstract. Language is very different. Language is very precise. In fact, the whole reason we use it is because it has semantic specificity. When you say a word, what you care is that that word was perceived correctly.
Well, whatever. That's not exactly true either. We say words with all kinds of emphasis, so you can say destructive in Darth Vader's voice or something, and then you can say it in, Mickey Mouse, and it's two different words, pretty much.
You don't care that the word sounded pretty when it was spoken. Music is entirely
Yes, you
different. When you hear
do. It's called poetry.
music, if it doesn't sound good, what's the point? There's really very little point in listening to music when it doesn't sound good to you.
Well, whatever. Obviously, there's no point in listening to something that doesn't sound good to you, but there's some music that doesn't sound good to me.
The acoustics of music are much harder than those of language. You can see on this figure that the frequency range and the decibel range, the dynamic range of music is far more heterogeneous. So if we had to design a perfect
So it's louder and higher frequencies. Okay, yes.
cochlear implant, what we would try to do is target it to be able to allow music transmission. Because I always view music as the pinnacle of hearing. If you can hear music, you should be able to hear anything.
Well, I guess, duh. I mean, isn't that like saying, well, if you can see a pin drop, if you can see it, you can see anything. Yeah, that's probably the standard.
Now, the problems begin first with pitch perception. I mean, most of us know that pitch is a fundamental building block of music, and without the ability to
I'm
perceive
being
pitch, well,
bored too.
music and melody is a very difficult thing to do. Forget about harmony and things like that.
Singing
now, this is a medium
about my
arrangement of
boredom.
Rachmaninoff's prelude. Now, if we could just play this.
Singing about my boredom. Dong bang 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 bang. Who the hell was that? Bangeranger? Frederick von Bangeranger. Dang, 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 dang. I go up the stairs and then I turn around and go down the stairs.
Okay, now, if we consider that in a cochlear implant patient, pitch perception can be off as
that
much
was
as
horrible.
2 octaves. Let's see what happens here when we
So
randomize
interesting.
this to within 1 semitone. We would be thrilled if we had 1 semitone pitch perception in cochlear implant. You just go and play
One
this one.
semitone. Oh, so they just fucked up the music randomly. They took some highs and moved them a little lower, moved some lows a little higher. Of course, it's going to sound even. Oh, God, this is
My
irritating.
goal in showing you that is to show you that music is not robust to degradation. You distorted it a little bit, especially in terms of pitch, and you've changed it.
Well, that's right. Then you can do the same thing to almost anything else. Like, oh, stick my finger in there and willy around to those electronics. Yeah, it's not going to work anymore.
It might be that you kind of like that. That's kind of hypnotic, but it certainly wasn't the way the music was intended. And you're not hearing the same thing that most people that have normal hearing are hearing.
All right,
Now,
so who cares? La la la.
The other issue
we
comes
get the
with
point.
not just the ability to tell pitches apart, but the ability to tell sounds apart. Most vocal implant users cannot tell the difference between an instrument. If we could play these two sound clips in succession.
Okay.
And the second one.
Yeah, well, they are a little bit similar, just in the way the ones you picked. But you picked ones that are similar, didn't you? You did that on purpose. You did it on purpose.
That's a violin. These have similar waveforms. They're both sustained instruments. Vocal implant users cannot tell the difference between these instruments. The sound quality, or the sound of the sound, is how I like to describe timbre, tone color. They cannot tell these things whatsoever. This implant is not transmitting the quality of music that usually provides things like
Yeah,
warmth.
well, I mean, this is a duh, right? I mean, you've basically taken something with, say, a frequency of 30 or 40, a bit rate, let's say, and you reduced it to 2. So, yeah, of course, you lost a lot.
Now, if you look at the brain of an individual that has a cochlear implant and you have them listen to speech, have them listen to rhythm, and have them listen to melody, what you find is that the auditory cortex is the most active during speech. You would think that because these implants are optimized for speech. They were designed for speech. But actually, if you look at melody, what you find is that there's very little cortical activity in implant users compared to normal hearing controls. So for whatever reason, this implant is not successfully stimulating auditory cortices during melody perception.
Well, whatever that means, melody perception. Yeah, so they're not hearing it. Fine.
Now, the next question is, well, how does it really sound? Okay? Now, we've been doing some studies to really get a sense of what sound quality is like for these offenders. I'm going to play you two clips of Usher, one which is normal and one which has almost no high frequencies, almost no low frequencies, and not even that many mid frequencies. You want to play that?
Let's hear it. Oh, God, my fucking God, that's horrible. Don't make the poor deaf people do it. Oh, that's much better. Oh, I'm going to go stick
tell me that those sound the same.
I'm going to stick a pencil in my ear because, yeah, I want those things to sound the same.
They cannot differentiate sound quality differences between those two clips. Again, we are very, very far away in terms of getting where we want to get to.
Well, this is not
now,
very
the question
interesting.
comes to mind, is there any hope? And yes, there's hope. Now, I don't know if anybody knows who this is. This is...
Dead guy. Joe Dead Guy.
Does somebody know?
Yeah, he's famous.
This is Beethoven.
Oh.
Okay. Now, why would
Creepy.
we know what Beethoven's skull looks like? Because
somebody boiled his head and pulled his skin off.
his grave was exhumed. And it turns out that his temporal bones were harvested when he died to try to look at the cause of his deafness, which is why he has mold and clay and his skull is bulging out on the side there. But Beethoven composed music long after he lost his hearing. What that suggests is that even in the case of hearing loss, the capacity for music remains.
Well, composing is a little bit different. You know, I mean, this is kind of bullshit, right? I mean, composers work with notes. They understand that the connection between the note and music, and so they become arrangers of notes.
The brains remain hardwired for music. I've been very lucky to work with Dr. David Ryugo, where I've been working on, there's deaf cats that are white, and we've been trying to figure out what happens when we give them cochlear implants. This is a cat that's been trained to respond to a trumpet for food.
That's mean. They did pointless surgeries for little animals. Alright, get to it. Get to the one that works. Well, duh. Oh, look at his poor little head. Get a little stretch. That's nice, though.
Now, I'm not suggesting
They got all that crap on it because they've got a bunch of batteries in it and shit. Zapping its
that
poor little brain.
the cat is hearing that trumpet the way we're hearing it. I'm suggesting that with training, you can imbue a musical sound with significance, even in a cat. If we were
We already knew that. You didn't need to fuck up the cat to prove that.
to direct efforts towards training cochlear implant users to hear music, because right now there's virtually no effort put towards that. No rehabilitative strategies, very little in the way of technological advances to actually improve music, we would come a long way. Now, I want to show you one last video, and this is of a student of mine,
Oh, dear.
named Joseph, who I had the good fortune to work with for 3 years in my lab. He's deaf,
Okay,
and
good.
he learned to play the piano after he received a cochlear implant.
And here's how he plays it, which will be interesting, right? Yeah. Ding, 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 ding.
Here's a video of Joseph.
I don't see him. There he is. He's playing music. He's playing music. It's not the same as playing it and hearing it. It's reading it and playing it. I mean, he's obeying a script. Come on. This is going on insufferably long. This is like a 40-hour video of a bad piano player. Well, I mean, it's okay, but it's hideous, this song. It's way too...
So I was born in 1986, and at about 4 months old, I was diagnosed with performance sensory neural hearing loss. Not long after, I was fitted with hearing aids. But although these hearing aids were the most powerful hearing aids on the market at the time, they weren't very helpful. As a result, I had to rely on lip reading a lot, and I couldn't really hear what people were saying. When I was 12 years old, I was one of the first few people in Singapore to undergo cochlear implantation. And not long after I got my cochlear implant, I started learning how to play the piano, and it was absolutely wonderful. Since then, I've never looked back.
Joseph is phenomenal. He's brilliant. He is now a medical student at Yale University, and he's contemplating a surgical career, one of the first deaf individuals to consider a career in surgery. There are almost no deaf surgeons anywhere. And this is really unheard of stuff, and this is all because of his technology. And the fact that he can play the piano like that is a testament to his brain. Truth of the matter is, you can play the piano without a cochlear implant because all you have to do is press the keys at the right time. You don't actually have to hear it. I know he doesn't hear well because I've heard him do karaoke. And it's one of the most awful things.
Yeah. So what is the point of this again? I'm losing the mission statement here.
Heartwarming, but awful. Now, and so there is certainly a lot of hope, but there's a lot more that needs to be done. And so I just want to conclude with the following words.
Oh,
when it comes
please.
to restoration of hearing, we have certainly come a long way, a remarkably long way. And we have a much longer way to go when it comes to the idea of
Well, do we really? I mean, isn't this shortcut just to say, fuck it? Just cork those vaginas, goddammit. Then you don't have all these ear problems. No ear problems, cork the vaginas. We need vaginal implants that'll cork those suckers. Uterine implant corkers.
restoring perfect hearing. And let me tell you right now, it's fine that we would all be very happy with speech, but I'll tell you, if we lost our hearing, if anyone here suddenly lost your hearing, you would want perfect hearing back. You wouldn't want decent hearing. You would want perfect.
Well, I know you'd be happy to get anything you got the fuck back, though. I mean, you know, when I had my stroke, I was happy to be able to, you know, even if my leg wasn't going to work good, as long as I could friggin' throw it in front of me, and yeah, as long as I could limp on it, I would take it.
Hearing. Restoration of basic sensory function is critical, and I don't mean to understate how important it is to restore basic function, but it's really a restoration of the ability to perceive beauty where we can get inspired.
Oh, whatever. Blah, 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 blah,
I
blah.
don't think that we should give up on beauty. I want to thank you for your time.
Yeah, this wasn't about anything. This was not about anything. It was just about, it's nice to torture cats. No. It was about, yes, wouldn't it be wonderful if, and isn't it wonderful that we are, but yeah, we're not quite there yet. Yeah, oh, that's a nice subject, I suppose. I mean, what? You could lament anything. You could lament there's still cancer. Well, let's lament it. But that's all this. This was just a lament. This was nothing. This was useless.